Hey, I'm Ale.
And I'm Andre.
We're both facilitators.
And we do things a bit differently.
These are our memoirs.
And we want you to be a part.
We hope you enjoy this episode.
This is Facilitators Memoirs, where we break the rules and make the magic happen. The art of guiding chaos into clarity, turning dead-end discussions into breakthroughs, and making collaboration actually work. Sounds interesting? Then come join us. Let's get disruptive.
Hello.
Hello, Ale. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. It's good to see you after a trip, huh, my friend?
Yes, my friend. I was away for 3 weeks.
You
I
were.
had the very gracious opportunity of missing the first 2 weeks of the school year, 3 weeks actually, to travel through Asia. I was
Asia!
in Malaysia and Korea. Very exciting places. I didn't have a bad meal for 3 weeks until I came back to Frankfurt Airport.
Because of course, when you come back.
Obviously, the first meal back here in Germany was dissatisfactory, to say the least.
I can imagine.
So very much the urge was there to come to Berlin and to go to a great restaurant like we did today.
Like we did today, exactly. I wish all the listeners could actually see the face in Andres right now, noticing that we have, once again, good food here in Berlin, still waiting for him.
Still a bit of sweat on my forehead. We're at a Chinese Sichuan restaurant.
Ooh,
Everyone knows their Sichuan.
And very crowded.
Spicy. Crowded, which is always a good sign for a restaurant. And I must say, we're both very impressed.
Yes, by all means.
We'll be back here again. And it was a pleasure to have Asian cuisine again of high standard. And as I was telling you about my trip, because of course you were curious.
How was your trip exactly? Tell us a little bit about it.
It was amazing, of course. Beach, jungle, food, wedding ceremony, all this kind of stuff. Good friends, quality life, right? Yeah. Quality of life, and telling you about it, telling everyone about it, because of course, being gone for 3 weeks, it was a special trip. Everyone wants to know how it was. And
of course we do.
Obviously, I'm telling you about it, and as I'm telling you about it, I'm remembering it and I'm reflecting on it, and that has me thinking about how I'm reflecting about it as well.
Interesting process.
Because at the same time, I'm back in the deep end of education. I'm like teaching again every day, developing new projects. And at the moment, I really have to develop projects very quickly. And I need to self-reflect for that. I need to make an experience, test new things in an educational setting, in a lesson, a math lesson, for example, try something out, and then think back about it and think, what did I like from it? What can I improve? Self-reflect, learn from it.
Learn from the process.
So I'm somehow feeling the two are connected.
I am totally certain that the process of being out for so long and having time for yourself and also to be in nature and to reconnect with the things that are important for you, Andre, that makes you create spaces also for yourself to notice what is important, what is not so important, and also like what can I learn also or about me, about my processes also out of this. So that self-reflection that you're talking about, I think it's an interesting topic to delve into today.
Hanging out with monkeys for a couple of days in the jungle definitely puts things back into perspective.
Yes. The guys are very, very naughty.
Well, I feel like we're family. But anyway, that's a different topic for another day maybe. So we actually got from, eating the good food, talking about my vacation, you, of course, sharing what you've been up to. In the later parts of the summer, beginnings of fall, we started thinking about self-reflection. And of course, Facilitators Memoirs, we're talking about what does that have to do with us as facilitators?
Yeah, we reflect, exactly.
Right. And maybe you can say from your perspective, what does self-reflection have to do with being a facilitator?
Well, for me in general, there was a time where I would be doing a workshop every 1 or 2 weeks, right? And that gave me a lot of space, head space also, to go and start a process and then close it very quickly. And then also like really have processes of thinking about what did I learn, how could I improve, what kind of processes.
You're saying you had quite a bit of time in between.
There was time, exactly, there was time. But the more you get into this life of a facilitator, and I'm quite certain that you can connect to that, Andre, the more we start noticing that we don't have that time, that we are actually in a hamster wheel of once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, sometimes even, and you really cannot really create spaces for that. And that's basically why the topic was also interesting for me today to talk with you.
Well, time and tell me if you agree, energy, right?
Energy consuming, exactly.
My mind is tired. My mind gets tired. My body may still be willing at the end of the day, but
we don't get younger also.
No. And I'm teaching, 7 to 8 hours a day sometimes.
Imagine,
Right? Different groups of kids. I don't have the luxury of having like a school teacher, a normal school teacher would, of having one class with 25 kids. And those are my 25 kids.
Yeah.
I work with 60 to 70 different kids every week in different groups in different settings.
So opening and closing so many processes has to take a toll in your brain, right, Andre?
Well, it does if I even go there. And I think that's something that I wanted to touch on today. I think my journey is similar to yours. Just to take a step back, I also used to do adult education, where I would, plan intensive workshops on a specific topic, and do one maybe every 2 weeks, right? And then I had time to deconstruct how that went, take feedback into consideration, talk to also some participants,
learn
some
from
of
the
my
process.
co-creators, and really take time to learn from that one experience.
Right, yeah.
But I can't apply that to my current schedule, because if I want to spend that much time and energy on each lesson, I don't have the time. Even the weekend is not enough time, right? I don't have the capacity. So I've learned to adjust to that circumstance. And today I'd like to share a little bit of how I have changed in terms of self-reflection.
So that would be very interesting to know, Andre. Do you create spaces where you are actually going through that self-reflection? Or is it so that it comes to you just in random moments? How does it happen for you?
So nowadays, where I don't have the time and the luxury to have one event to dissect in a lot of time, I have multiple overlapping experiences. I have a lot of energy being drained. So I'm just noticing, I started noticing that I really need to reset.
Right.
At the end of the day, I need to reset. That's my priority.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who's working a people-oriented job, at the end of the day, probably has this feeling of, I need to reset, I need to come back to myself, and I need to free up some capacity for tomorrow.
We discussed it a little bit, the energy that we are creating also when we are around people, right?
Yeah.
It takes a toll on us, and it also creates a lot of stress in a way, right, to our bodies.
Right, it does. If we're not creating new space and new capacity, the littlest thing can become too much for us, right?
Yeah.
And we do all have lives outside of facilitation, so we want to give that part of our lives a space too. And I really started realizing how important the reset was for me. So that stood in conflict to what I was doing before, where I was taking that time to reflect, actively self-reflect. By actively self-reflect, I mean taking time to think back on the event, the workshop in that case, and go through it mentally. What went well? What could I have improved upon? What were some situations that stood out? What do I maybe want to do differently? Try to learn from the experience and move forward.
So you're moving in the direction of basically creating specific spaces where you would be thinking about that, or creating the reflection about the process that you went through in order to learn, right? And that's also something that is important for us to connect with the listeners, right? Why do we create these processes? Because we want to learn, right? Sure. It's not possible for us to keep doing things the same way every single time. We have to learn every single time that we're doing something, how to do it better, how to do something in a different way. And if we don't create those spaces for those self-reflection, those moments don't happen, right?
I don't know if it's like the nature of our job trying to help other people improve.
Yeah, and we don't.
We either lose track of it ourselves or do have a deep, I think, with the years that we have experienced, a deep understanding of it's important that we do it. It's important that we learn and we grow. And I always tell my students, listen, you're learning here, but I'm also learning from you.
Exactly, yes.
Learning all around is mutual.
No.
And I think that's something very important. But back to the self-reflection. So I'm resetting at the end of the day. I'm, trying to go back to as much of a zero state as I can to have a fresh mind for the next day. Okay? So where does the self-reflection take place, you might ask? Because I'm not actively
When did you put it in your schedule? In which moment of the schedule?
And I think that's what is really interesting. And I'm also a bit surprised saying it out loud, but I'm no longer actively looking or planning in self-reflection.
How dare you, Andre? Now you're saying this.
I don't make the time for it.
That's true.
I make the time to reset and recalibrate and gain capacity and, create free space that I can then use again.
Yeah.
But what I found by doing that and not actively looking for self-reflection, actively planning it in and taking the time for it, self-reflection is finding me.
That's interesting. So you're not chasing it, it's coming to you.
No.
Now that's something.
Yeah. So just yesterday, for example, I'm currently developing this new project where, maybe I can tease it, I want to try teaching math through role-playing games.
Interesting,
So I'm developing role-playing games with students.
Yeah.
We're creating our own story, and it's a a project where math will come up within the story.
Right.
And it's outside of my comfort zone, where I'm very comfortable being, but it's a new project and I need to really self-reflect and learn from my experiences because I have nothing else to base it on.
Yeah.
As far as I know, I've never met anyone, at least. I've never seen it anywhere, this being done.
So you need the space, the time and the brain capacity also of thinking about that project, right?
Well, I need it ultimately to be as fresh as possible for the moment, to be honest with you. Because I'm letting the moment guide me at the moment. Because I don't have any experiences and best practices to look back on.
Yeah.
So I really need to just, be fully immersive in the experience. We've talked about this in previous episodes. The way we do things, it's less thoroughly planned. We're more present in the moment.
We did.
We talked about that. So that's kind of our style. That's how we do it. And we did give tips on how you can do it. So make sure to look back at previous episodes if you want to learn a bit more about how that's possible.
Yeah.
Right. But so what I'm doing is I'm resetting instead of self-reflecting. And what I notice is that the self-reflection thoughts are coming to me. So yesterday, after I reset, and before I was going to bed, a very, simple thought came to me.
Right.
That revolutionized what I wanted to do the next day.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And it was exactly what I was missing, exactly an open-ended question that I had left for the day, that the answer came to me without force, without actively chasing it. It came to me. And it came to me, and I was able to say, hi, let me write you down before I forget you, which is also
an important moment
for the way you're doing this. So I always write down, I always have paper with me, and I write down my self-reflective thoughts as they come to me.
Yeah.
Because as I've written it down, I can forget about it again.
Totally, yes. No.
I'll take a look at you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But then when I look back at it tomorrow, it's like, yes,
It
that
makes sense.
was the key. That's what I needed. And I saved myself maybe even time if I would have taken time for self-reflection. I don't know if in an hour I would have gotten there.
Yeah, if you would have said that you would stay 1 hour brainstorming every single thing that you learned from the session, most likely the ideas would not have come at all, right?
I don't know, but it is something that I've noticed in my own life that if I'm actively forcing it and chasing it and trying to forcibly get somewhere, it's not as smooth and it's not as elegant as when I let it come to me.
Yeah, I see. Well, I think in general, there is a lot of room, especially right now in the world that we're living in, right? Where we're being told that we have to go fast, we have to learn fast, and we have to pivot even faster. To have like this idea that you're bringing, Andrea, don't chase it, it's going to come to you. I think it's so powerful, right? Because it's not about creating a ritual that is going to make the self-reflection happen. It's about giving the moment that the brain and your body, the moment to just stop for a while without necessarily thinking that you're going to do something without a stop, right? It's a moment for your body and for your brain to say like, no, really, I'm not expecting anything from you. All we're doing right now is self-preservation, relaxing, coming back to where we are, resetting our present moment, and then whatever is going to happen from here, it's already welcome, right? So when it's a very interesting thing when you are having that conversation with your body and with your brain, right?
Well, I think it's more so giving space to the unconscious part of your mind.
Exactly.
Right? If you're consciously always thinking, your unconscious is not being heard.
Exactly. No.
Right? And what I'm basically saying is I'm pushing away the conscious thought and giving more space for unconscious thought to work
so that they
and
come
to present it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you'd mentioned rituals because there's a lot of self-help gurus, a lot of facilitation, learning and development gurus out there that preach rituals, right?
Yeah.
Do you have experience with those? How does that work for you? And also, where are you at today in your journey of self-reflection?
I think it's a very good moment so that we can tell everyone whatever you do for self-reflection as a facilitator is more than welcome, right? Because Andre and I, we have also tried many different techniques. Like Andre was saying, for example, it happened to me very often that I was also sleeping and ideas would just come to me. Right. So I would have, for example, a little journal where I would write ideas just like you did. Yeah. So that technique, for example, works for some people. Some other people are more visual, right? And they have to make, for example, diagrams. And they have to connect, for example, moments in the session. And then when they see it visually, they can understand and they can learn out of that process too. Yes. There's also methodologies where you're basically just observing every single part of the workshop that you created, and just thinking about that very moment. How did my participants react? How was the process for them? Did they understand what I was giving them as instructions? And all you're doing in that process is just thinking or letting yourself reflect about those moments, right?
But
you're not chasing something.
You're kind of breaking it down into specific aspects.
And you could break it down
structuring it.
Because
it's like structured self-reflection.
The important thing here, and especially what we're also bringing to the table, Andre, our brain works in a very reptilian way still, in a very antiquated way, right? We cannot really tell the body and the brain to do things. Like if you tell the body or the brain to understand every single number in a telephone book for a couple of hours just because of reading them, it's not going to be able to do it if you're just reading every single name. It has to go by portions. It has to go by pieces, right? So the same process also happens when you're going into this process of self-reflection. Okay, I'm going to self-reflect about the workshop. Oh, that's very big. It was 2 hours.
Right.
In 2 hours, so many things happened.
It's a lot to unpack.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to kind of leave the brain. Okay, let's focus on this very moment. But once again, going a little bit into the idea that Andre is bringing to the table, right? Instead of really focusing on brain, think about that moment and bring me back to that moment so that I can learn. It's more about, let me be present in that moment once again, and let me observe once again every interaction that I was having there, and just the things that are flowing to your head, right? And they might be logical. They might be very, like you could see like a reaction or an interaction that was very relevant and you can see it only now. Or it could just be something that was very small that maybe you didn't notice in your conscious mind, but your unconscious noticed something, right? And with that, you can also say like, okay, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but it looks like my brain stuck with that saying,
it's stuck
with something that the person said, like, why am I thinking about it? And then you're not forcing your body or your brain to think about it. You're just letting it come. And like you were saying, maybe you finish that process today at that hour, but when you go to bed, most likely your brain is going to keep thinking about that and say like, oh, now I know. It's because of this, or it's because there's something that I could, or there's one idea that I was thinking very long time ago that I wanted to do. I didn't test it in that moment, but I could still test it because it looks like it's something. So the important thing here is to let the brain know that you're creating a ritual or a container for that moment to happen, but you're not forcing the process. Like you're saying, it should come from the body. It's from the brain, from the mind itself, right?
So you're basically saying that, like, what I'm saying is I've taken out the ritual.
Yeah.
You're saying you can, if it helps you,
create
a ritual.
Journaling, creating, whatever works for a facilitator.
I would say maybe the most ritual part of mine is I write it down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
important.
Comes, I write it down. Yes. That's something I do in general in life.
That's important, yeah.
I have so much going on that it's here and it's gone, right? If I don't write it down.
Yeah.
And also, I found that when I write things down, I don't have to think about them actively because I just look at the paper and then it's there. The thought was there.
It's out of your brain and into the paper, right? So it's a process of taking it out of your brain.
You can also write things on a phone. A lot of people do that. I just personally like pen and paper.
Yeah, we're all like that, my dear audience. The both of us are all like that. I'm totally certain that you guys are doing it with a telephone.
We're the outsiders, right? That's why I mentioned the phone because, even with calendars, I see all my colleagues putting it in their phone. I think
we're still in love with writing. We're still in love with writing.
Like, how can you not have it just visually in front of you?
The paper, yes.
That's why we're all different. That's why, we're trying to touch on different aspects of the ways of doing it, right? But I like your idea of making it a ritual, but in the ritual, planting in the respect for the unconscious.
Exactly.
Right? And the power of the unconscious, I think, is ultimately what we're trying to convey, right? Is if you're not actively pursuing self-reflection, taking care of yourself and your mind after you've done the work, resetting, and you kind of, train this over some time, give it some time for your body to adjust to it, your mind to adjust to it.
And find your process, exactly, right?
The self-reflection will come, right? And for me, it's more about how can I have the thought and quickly distance myself from it so that it's not, stopping me from finding sleep, for example.
Or trying to understand exactly what it means in the moment, right?
That's a great point. I'm also not dissecting it in the moment. I'm just capturing the thought and letting the dissecting and really digging deeper into what it means. And
it's a different process for a different moment.
I'm decoupling it. I'm taking that and I'm just leaving that untouched and I'm picking it up on another day. Like minimum a night's sleep over it. And I think that's also really powerful too, is it's almost like self-reflection in little steps.
Yep. It may be
as opposed to taking an hour to do it all. Break it down and have it over a couple of days and have it come to you as opposed to going to look for it.
I was sharing with you, there's a reason why, especially now, many facilitators and many traders have discovered that brainstorming sessions do not work so well, right? Brainstorming sessions in the workshop are the worst moment to actually have ideas. The moment that you have ideas is the moment that you finish the brainstorming. So you have to actually create spaces where people can think also outside of the workshop about things. The same thing happens with self-reflection. You have to leave the space for the body and the brain to do it when they want.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, when the thoughts actually come to you. Right?
Yeah, that's interesting about having like, you want to have a creative thought.
And you force it.
And there's like everyone's saying do creative methods. And
five ideas right now, and then you come.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I also learned this in my engineering degree. Like if you want to come up with great ideas, then you have these different methods.
Yes.
Right. And I thought to myself, almost all of the good ideas I had didn't come from the particular.
They were in the bathroom. You were doing something else. You were eating. You were with friends. Exactly. When the brain is actually relaxed, because that's how it works.
So I think just we've been doing it long enough to just realize that, you've had so many experiences of the best ideas coming this way, the best self-reflective thoughts coming this way.
Yeah.
So now we just plan it in.
Yeah.
And it helps me manage the mind, because I feel like when I'm teaching a lot, my mind is under a lot of strain.
Yeah.
And it just helps me manage it, and I can focus on resetting at the end of the day, but I'm also not giving up self-reflection.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it differently.
Yeah. And it's important to go in that process. And because self-reflection is also very important to us, we're coming close to finishing today, but we also want to remind people of a very special self-reflection that we're going to be doing very soon, right, Andre?
Yes. A live self-reflection.
A live self-reflection. You can see us in action, actually.
Come join us on Friday, October 24th. Yeah, at I think 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. We can leave also the information. You can also ask us. You can also go to the Insta and see it directly there on the bio. We have all the information so that you can also join us.
Right, and we'll add a link to the episode where you can also get tickets for the event. It is free, but if you're getting a ticket, you can let us know that you're coming, so to say, but also feel free to just stop by.
Because there's going to be nice food, there's going to be nice conversations. What are we doing that day, Andre? Can you give us an idea? Can you give it a spoiler?
I guess what kind of started was the thought of maybe recording an episode in front of a live audience of our peers.
Yeah.
So we're just interested people.
Yeah.
So that's where it started from. And then we thought, well, if we're going to do that and have all these interesting, awesome people there, we're going to have ways of interacting with them and engaging and having them be a part of the experience too. So
if you want to really
it's a whole community thing.
Exactly. It's a community event. If you want to understand that, the concept is a community event where we're basically celebrating being facilitators, with trainers, with the coaches, with every one of you that are here in Berlin. Like, we're welcoming you to this nice community.
So it's not just about me and Ale, it's about all of us.
Exactly.
And the great work that we do and all the learning and self-reflection that we can do.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And sharing our experiences and just having a good time together.
Because the memoirs are coming from Andre and for me, but they are shared by a full community. And we want to see that actually happening also in life.
Very much looking forward to that. And also very much looking forward to the rest of this journey.
It is.
Hope you are going to join us for it.
Looking forward to seeing you all very, very soon. We hope also that this self-reflection made you self-reflect in not the best moment. Find the moment for it.
Let it come to you.
Let it come to you. If it didn't work right now,
let it come to you.
It will come to you when you reset.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for being with us, guys. Bye.
Bye.